Today we will be presenting on Brazil and its agriculture, presented by Rachel, Caleb, Spencer, and Ashman.
Beginning with some history about Brazil, it's located in South America. It was officially discovered in 1500 by Portuguese diplomat Pedro Álvares Cabral. Much like the United States, the settlers put the natives of Brazil to work and killed most of them with diseases, then turning to African slave trade for laborers. At the end of the 17th century, the news that veins of emeralds, diamonds, and gold had been found in Minas Gerais exploded in Lisbon. Fortune hunters rushed in from all over, and boatloads of carpenters, stonemasons, sculptors, and painters come from Europe to build its cities in the Brazilian wilderness. After the country had started taking its shape, it added cotton and tobacco to sugar, gold, and diamonds on its list of exports. As the interior parts opened, so did the opportunities for cattle ranching. Unlike today, Portugal's policies tended towards stripping Brazil of its resources rather than developing a truly local economy. Some other information is that the national dish is feijoada and its largest export is soybeans.
For the leading agricultural outputs of Brazil, the data is based off of production in 2014. The top output of Brazil is soybeans. Last year, they produced 94.5 million metric tons of this commodity. The next largest output was corn at 75 million metric tons, followed by sugar at 37.8 million metric tons. The last two top outputs of Brazil are poultry and beef at 12.7 and 9.9 million metric tons respectively. Next is the leading exports of Brazil. Many of the top exports are the same as the leading outputs. The top exports of Brazil are soybeans, sugars and sweeteners, poultry meat and its products, soybean meal, and beef products. The dollar amount of soybeans far exceeds the other exports at a value of $23.3 million. The top countries that import soybeans from Brazil are China, Spain, and the Netherlands. As you can see from the chart, the other commodities listed are exported at a much lower value, but they are still as a large asset to Brazil's economy. Next, the top leading imports of Brazil are wheat, processed vegetables, dairy products, vegetable oils, and prepared foods. Wheat is the highest dollar amount imported at a value of $1.8 million. The top countries that the wheat is imported from is the United States, Argentina, and Uruguay. The other imports mainly come from Argentina, Uruguay, and the United States, all at a dollar value below $1 million. As you can see, Brazil definitely exports more commodities than they import.
The U.S. is one of Brazil's biggest trade partners. The biggest trade done by these two countries consists of the U.S. importing $1,333,338 worth of coffee, $388,879 worth of fruit and vegetable juice, $269,917 worth of tobacco, and $220,502 worth of red meats. In return, the U.S. exports $752,588 worth of wheat. Agriculture provides one of the largest labor forces for Brazil at 15.7% of jobs, second only to service jobs. However, it only accounts for 5.5% of Brazil's GDP, beneath both service and industry jobs.
As we said before, feijoada is Brazil's national dish. Traditionally, it's prepared in a clay pot. Although most of the main ingredients are both imported and exported, the export percentages are higher. Therefore, it can be concluded that the commodity sources for this dish are located in Brazil, like common dishes commodities are found in the U.S.
Our average Brazilian farmer is generally going to be around 52 years old and will tend to have a low level of schooling, most having about 6 years of education or less. He will most likely use oil lamps and candles for sources of lighting during the nighttime, seeing as how almost half of Brazil's farms have no electricity. Since more than half of the farms do not have electricity, they also don't have access to tools such as tractors, so they will also be forced to have horses, cattle, or mules to use for labor. The average farm size is not very accurate in that 81% of farms are under 123 acres in size and share 12% of the agricultural land, whereas 1% of farms are larger than 2,470 acres and occupy 45% of all land used in agriculture. The average household will typically have about 3 members. About 51% of rural Brazilians live in poverty, which can cause a production challenge. If farmers had more available funds, they would be better suited to have the adequate tools and machinery necessary to efficiently use their land and provide for their families. While farming is an important part of Brazil's economy, the average farmer cannot live solely off the income made off the farm. Farmers do not have alternate sources of income. They must sell the majority of the commodities they produce instead of consuming the products in order to make up the difference. Some of the countries that the farmers might sell to after taking out the products that they will use for consumption are China, the Netherlands, and the United States.
This is our bibliography.
Thank you.